Today's show is sponsored by Profit Accumulator, the #1 match betting service in the UK. Match betting is different to gambling. With gambling, you bet on one side, and if that side loses, you lose. With match betting, you bet on both sides. That means no matter what the outcome, you're a winner. When you sign up to Profit Accumulator, they will walk you through the whole process of how to do match betting, and as long as you follow what they tell you, you cannot lose. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description right now for your free trial, and you can start earning some real cash.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Stats Review Show live with myself, Cecil G, and we've got James B with us, and we'll be talking about yesterday's game, getting you guys' opinions. It's live. I know I saw a comment just a second ago saying, waiting for, can't wait to see Robbie, hurry up. Unfortunately, here he is. Come on, Robbie, unfortunately. You got me and James, so tonight we're going to be doing live. I want to get you guys' opinions, thoughts of yesterday's game. It was a 0-0. We're going to break down the stats to begin with. We've kind of got structure of the show. We're going to do the stats. We're going to go through the first half, second half players who we should give a shout out to, and then get you guys' opinions. Are you happy? I've got a massive opinion on how getting a point. I was actually very happy with getting a point yesterday, and I think it should spur the boys on to be confident and go on and continue winning the rest of the games ahead. And before we start, I have a question for everyone, and James included. He doesn't know about this bit. I think he's found it. But would you have taken, knowing the changes that have been made before the game, for the start 11, would you have taken a point before the game started? Obviously, we know there came a point.
I think I know what's coming.
Say that again.
I think I know what's coming.
Here we go. So imagine we're starting 11. If you guys haven't watched it on AFTV, go back and watch it. The starting 11's announced. This was James's reaction. So he was very sad. Robbie,
I was a little dejected. It's fair to say.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to chat about the starting 11 in a bit, but I was a little optimistic, quietly optimistic. I didn't want to say it too much before, and then we get the news of Saka and Tierney not being available, and to be honest, I'm not trying to do a whole "I told you so" kind of thing here, but at that moment, I knew we weren't winning the game. Obviously, there's every chance we could. Obviously, it's football; it's the way the game works. But I had lost all confidence that we were going to win the game at that point. And there I was. It's that one on the bottom left. I mean, Robbie kept looking over to me like, "Are you all right?"
he literally kept looking, because Robbie, he like analyzes the room. He checks when to go in and speak with people. Every time he looked over to you, you're like this. I was crying on the side, like, James, you are stressed. Like, don't get me wrong.
I was.
After seeing the team, I was stressed, but I don't know. I thought we'll just see how it goes, because you never know.
I'll be honest, right? I hadn't really said this in any of our previews. I really wanted to beat them. Obviously you want to win every game. But there's something about Man United. A, it's the rivalry, the tradition. B, it's true. I wasn't having any of it. It's also, I think, the rivalry with the fan bases, but also deep down, I fundamentally don't think they're that much better than us. I think they've got much better players and a better squad. I do think that, but I don't think they're coached well enough. I think they're in a bit of a false position where they are in the league, and I wanted to prove that. I think in some ways we did prove that they're not really much better than us, but ultimately we didn't beat them. So yeah, I felt a lot of emotion riding on that game, quite frankly.
Yeah, okay. Right, let's go through. We'll go through the stats. Before we do that, let's answer some questions. Yes, I'm wearing a do-rag. No, I haven't got waves. My hair is a mess, so I had to cover up. I wear the hat a lot, but today it's late. That's that. What was the other things people saying about Robbie? So I'm reading the comments. Can Robbie do a bust it down challenge? No, we're gonna get to the show. We're gonna get to what we're here for, the stats. We're gonna break it down. And then, we'll get into your guys' opinions. There's going to be plenty of conversation in this show. So make sure you stay with us. Send in your comments and let's get to this. Oh, someone said about the lights. About the lights. Sorry, no, Robbie's fine. We've got our home studios are finally coming together. Slowly.
They are. It's a big step up from where we were a couple months ago.
Definitely.
Yeah, and guys, any questions, just throughout, feel free just to fire them our way about the first half, second half, whatever it is we're talking about. Like this is essentially a review Q&A. Anything you want to ask, we'll chat about it. But let's get into it. Should we start with the starting 11?
Yes. Oh, that's nice. Is it rolling across the bottom as well? Sorry. That's it.
Cecil, we're meant to look prepared.
I know. Sorry, it's bad. Right,
You're there. Oh, that's cool. Let's go into it. I'll start because yes, that picture that you just highlighted at the beginning of this show was my reaction to the starting 11 coming out. I was pretty dejected, and I think the biggest shock was the day before finding out Aubameyang wasn't available. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that was disastrous because I didn't even want him in my starting lineup. I felt there were players who deserved to keep their place. So it wasn't so much that, it's, you've got the hope for kickoff. You're thinking, I'm really hoping Tierney's back. And if he's not, that's a bitter pill to swallow. But what you end up finding out is that Tierney's not back, nor is Saka available. He's unfit to play, hip injury or something. And so you've lost Pepe on the left, which means he has to come to the right. And I felt that we were compromised in 4 positions because you also don't have Cedric at right back. So I know it's only 1 or 2 out, but I felt it affected us basically across both wings completely. And it's not that I look at that team and I didn't think it was good enough to cause Man United problems. I just felt that a big part of how we attack and how we score goals is Tierney overlapping, Saka breaking the lines in between centre-back and full-back, scoring a lot of goals. Aubameyang, we know, even in bad form, he scored 8 goals this season. He's a natural goal scorer, and you want him in the team. You want him available.
Against United as
and
well.
I was also worried about Holding and Bellerin as a combination against whoever they were going to have down that left-hand side. So there are a few things that concerned me. Ultimately, in the end, I didn't need to be quite as concerned as I was. But what was your reaction when the starting 11 came out?
Yeah, I was very much worried. I think me and Lee Judges, we spoke off camera and was like, yeah, we've had it. Between the start 11 and watch along, I said, nah, I wasn't confident at all. I was actually very much worried. And like you said, I agree with everything you say. A lot of our attacking now comes down the flanks off the fullbacks. And I didn't think we had that sort of firepower. And we spoke about it in the pre-match build-up show of our wingers cutting in and letting the fullbacks bomb on beyond to create chances. And I thought that's not going to happen with the team that we had. Cedric, yes, but Bellerin, again, and during the game, we didn't receive much from Bellerin anyway, but I thought Bellerin wouldn't have been able to do that like when we had Tierney and Cedric playing together. So I was worried, James, but again, I think it's a great point. I actually think it's for Manchester United fans and the team, it's a big opportunity that they missed to claim 3 points from that game, if I'm completely honest. And I just want to quickly highlight this one from Dale from Facebook. Says, why was Matt Ryan dropped? He was injured as well in training, which we found out. So it's kind of a thing where what's going on in training. I'm not going to, obviously, we don't really know, but players are getting injured. A lot of them in training, like Saka as well. Matt Ryan, I mean, he hasn't even played a game. He's just come to the club. Like,
they were all training. The training videos came out.
Yeah,
Saka was there. I think Tierney was there. Ryan was there.
Yeah, I saw. Even Ceballos. Even
Ceballos. That's an underrated one, I think, that's gone missing, because when you look at the stats, he's up there for interceptions, tackles. He does this. Oh, leave me alone, Navarre. He does his bit defensively, and I always think Ceballos can do a decent job. So, yeah, I was disappointed not to have him either. But, yeah, look, in the end, the 11 comes out, you find out what you find out, and the players got to do what they got to do. And I thought, actually, they had a really good account of themselves. But it was a game of 2 halves.
Yes, and before we move on and go through the game, just on that, I started the show saying the players should have full confidence now. That's only because I'm highlighting we had, in my opinion, a weakened team, and they held their own. Every player really did fight
more
for
than
their position.
Held their own, I thought.
Exactly. And I've always questioned Robbie when he's like, we've got loads of depth and that. And now I feel, do you know what? Because the performance they pulled out against Man United, they should be able to go forward and think, well, we did it against the so-called title contenders, or the Man United fans call themselves the champions of January. In my opinion, they thought they won the title already. But yeah, so they should have confidence going forward when in the next couple of games, Arsenal. So
I think yesterday we showed we had perhaps more impressive depth than we thought. Players who can do more of a job than we thought. So, and that is, and that's noteworthy, I suppose. That's a real positive that came out yesterday. But let's go half by half, because I did feel this was a game of two halves. And I actually felt we played well across both halves, just in two very different ways. Let's start with the first half and have a little look at those stats here. 7 shots each, 2 on target each. I'll be honest, didn't feel that way. I felt a little dominated in that first half. Probably the possession stats and the number of passes tells you why. And also they slightly edged it on duels, which is just something you notice when you're not quite winning the ball as much as the opposition, little things like that. Obviously Rashford had that really good chance that just fell to his feet. He tried to drag back and make some space for himself, but Arsenal was so quick to get there and hound out the space, and Leno did brilliantly. I felt we otherwise pretty much dealt with everything else. Obviously Fred had that sort of pretty speculative effort, but it was a great save by Leno. I mean, very underrated. I mean, incredible save. And then ultimately we had a few chances. Martinelli nearly played a lovely ball to Lacazette. Pepe with some nice skill nearly got a shot, off, and it didn't really come off in the end. There were some nice moments, but ultimately we didn't really lay too much of a glove on them in the first half. We looked. I think what I took from the first half was we looked capable. I felt that I grew in confidence that we could do something. We just weren't necessarily doing it.
I agree. I think, do you know what? I'm quite surprised with the possession stats in that first half. I thought we had more of the ball. It might have been more in the second half where we might have dominated the possession, but I thought it was higher than that. But you're right. The first half was quite, it was quite blunt. It was quite, there wasn't loads going. It wasn't too much going on. But like you said, that Rashford chance, boy, I had my heart racing. And in my opinion, that led to a free kick that was outrageous. It was Partey closing down Bruno, and it was never. Yeah. I would never have given that. Bruno.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a foul, to be honest. I know everyone in the studio was saying it wasn't, but I mean, he did clatter into him. No,
I don't know. He jumped up in the air, and I mean, that's Bruno. That's typical Bruno. If I'm honest.
Do you know the really funny thing about this game was that I saw both sets of fans complaining actually with some of the decisions. I think from our perspective, there was a Cedric elbow that shouldn't have been a yellow card. I mean, it was just completely accidental. He jumped for the ball. That wasn't a yellow. And the fact that he gave a yellow so quickly for that meant we've set a precedent now. So why did Maguire not get as booked as he should have been, booked earlier than he should have been? Why didn't Bruno Fernandes for that? Could have been red, but you want to give players benefit of the doubt. But on another day, that could easily have been a red, but it should have at least been a yellow. But then they felt that there were a few moments where we kind of got away with some. So it's a tough game to referee because it's so intense. And I don't really want to talk about the rest too much, but it was interesting that both sets of fans felt that way.
Yeah, and just before we move on, I don't talk about the ref too much either, but being on the watch-alongs, you realise how integral the ref is. I normally when I watch football before I came to AFTV, I never really focused on the ref at all, the decisions, but I mean, I guess it's with Ty and that in there. The screaming over card and ref, it does highlight it, but yeah, not all, it is weird. It's weird.
I saw both sets of fans here. This isn't me digging out United fans. Both sets of fans did this. They were trying to use was it Maguire and Lacazette, who both had moments where they went under a player who was jumping for a header. And they were both trying to say, well, that's what Harry Kane does. That's what because Harry Kane's been.
He does do that.
I don't want to throw out false accusations here. He's been known a few times this season to have a little look at a player who's coming and then go under and try and win a free kick. He's even won a penalty doing that, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying when Lacazette did a similar thing, they were saying, oh, well, Arsenal fans would be furious if Kane did that. And then we were saying about Maguire, that's so dangerous. Now, in defense of both players, if I remember it correctly, neither one had a look at the other player.
No.
They just didn't get there and didn't jump.
Yeah.
It's still dangerous, but it's not. I just want to shut down this narrative that they were both intentionally trying to hurt the opposition. I don't think it was that at all for both sides.
100%. If you're a striker, if you're Lacazette's size and height, you're not going to go up in the air against Maguire. It wouldn't make any sense. So what every manager's going to say is just affect the ball. So he's going to stand his ground. He's not intentionally leaning in, but he's got to stand his ground. Maguire's obviously going to go for the ball. He's a lot taller. He wins the ball in the air. That's what he's strong at. He's gone for the ball. Lacazette's just stood there and kind of he's got his eyes on the ball the whole time. He's not meaning to hurt him at all. He's not going to jump for it.
Key. That bit is key. He's got his eyes on the ball the whole time. And I mean, I don't, maybe there's another angle where he looks at him a little bit earlier on, but I'm pretty sure both him and Maguire in both situations they're in, because it was Pogba that I think Lacazette fouled or was in a collision with. I don't think either one knew what the other, I don't know what people are saying in the comments, actually. I haven't been looking, but I just felt it was neither here nor there. It happens. People jump. People are making a lot of it this season because of what people are calling, the thing that Harry Kane does. And it's different. With Harry Kane, you've seen him have a look. He has a very good look at the player and then does nothing. And I think that's very different to not knowing and just standing your ground and going, I'm not going to win this.
Yeah.
And then it happens. So worth talking about that.
Quick one. Lacazette plants his feet. If you watch it, he plants his feet. Harry Kane takes a look. He normally carries on walking backwards. So when he clips the player, they fall at an extreme height. There's a difference. Lacazette's looking at the ball and planting his feet. He's not trying to hurt the player.
And for Maguire's one. And the reason I keep saying this is because I don't want people in here going, it's just because it's an Arsenal player. No, I think both of them don't deserve the same level of scrutiny.
Yeah.
That's been aimed at them. But just to round off on that first half discussion, in terms of standout performers or where I felt we did really well, it was defensively. And I just want to say big credit to these two, Holding and Louise, because both of them have had their critics since being in an Arsenal shirt. Both of them have had good moments. They've had bad moments. People wanted Gabriel back. People wondering why Saliba went out on loan. I think we can just stop talking about the Saliba thing. He's out. He's having a good time at Nice or whatever. It seems to be going well for him. And let's just focus on who we got, because the centre-backs are stepping in and doing a good job this season. Gabriel and Mari have also been very good this year. And look, there's nothing particularly special in these stats to mention. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background as to what their numbers look like. But I did think they were very, very solid. And Louise got man of the match on Sky. Wasn't my personal man of the match, but I did think he was really, really good. Anything to say on the centre-backs?
Yeah, no, not much to say, James. Just they were David Luiz wasn't my man of the match, but he had a great game. If you watched the game, you'd know he was very passionate in his defending. He done really well. He kept a good Man United team out, if I'm honest. And Holding, I've got to give credit to Holding. I saw a comment earlier saying something about me questioning Holding. I do question him. His defending. I think when he's one-on-one and isolated, I still don't think he's the best defender we have in the club. I still think Gabriel and Louise are the best partnership at Arsenal. But Rob Holding, he's been on form. Can't complain. He done well. We got caught out in the previous game against Southampton.
So did Louise, to be fair.
So there you go. We counted that argument, but yeah, that's it really. But no, Rob Holding, he played really well. He's on form. He deserves to hold his shirt, and he deserves to keep his place. I think he's been all right. And same with Louise. I've been really impressed with Louise. I know he's probably due a crazy moment, but for now, I'm happy. They've done well.
They defended as a unit. The whole team did. They were superb. Moving on to that second half, it was less about the defending and more about what we were doing on the ball now. What were we bringing to the table in this game in terms of attacking prowess, initiative, and all that. And I thought we were much, much better. If we just have a little look at the stats from that second half, we had 10 shots to their 7. By the way, for a 0-0, it didn't feel like a game that had 17 and 14 shots or whatever it was. We'll go into the full-time stats in a bit. But yeah, we managed 10 shots in that second half. Only 1 on target, though. I really wish we tested De Gea more. I think it was that Willian chance, which, he gets it stuck under his feet, doesn't he? And he's trying to rush through it. I felt a little bit sorry for him. People were on his case, but, I think it was a little harder to take that instant first touch and bang it in the top corner. It's not as easy as it looks, but still should have done better. Yeah, we still didn't have as much possession as them, but it was much more even. Same with the passes. But look at that for Jules. We were much, much better in the second half. We were pressing them more. Xhaka, Partey, who had a poor game, but was still sort of on the offensive in that sense. Louise and Holding were winning the ball high up the pitch. That's what I really enjoyed. Hector Bellerin as well, Cedric. I just thought it was a much more complete performance in terms of the defensive side of the game and the attacking side of the game. And it was the part of the match from which I felt we were in control, really.
Yeah, I think so. On the second half, on the second half. I feel like, well, the possession is definitely improved, which is good, which I said. In the first half, I was surprised about the possession rates, but it was a lot higher in the second half. I think do you know what? I think that in the second half, the boys came out with more confidence. And I think that shows from the stats. So. Well, like 100%. I think Arteta went in there, and I don't know if I can pop up the second half stats again. Just while
I'll bring them up for you.
Oh, sorry. So here, sorry. The second half stats. So this is what I'm saying. I think they went in at halftime and was like, oh no, do you know what? We can play with confidence. We can go at them. Like they didn't really trouble us, in my opinion, in the first half. So I think that's why there's a lot more. There's a difference in the stats. There are a lot more shots. The possession got higher. Number of passes. The duels in the midfield as well were a lot better in the second half. I think they just thought, you know what? Let's just take it to them. Give Manchester United something to think about. So I was very, very impressed with the second half, if I'm completely honest. And I wanted to speak about Willian coming on at half time. So apparently that was tactical. This is what I'm hearing. I'm not getting at Willian because in my opinion, he actually had, not for his standards, that's going to sound rude. He had a good game. Obviously, he had the opportunity that I think he should have done better with, but I think he had a good game when he came on. But yeah, apparently that was tactical from Arteta.
I think this is ridiculous that he was on such great form for Chelsea when he left. And we're now talking about a player who was celebrating. It's mini victories. We're celebrating the little things. And the cynic in me wants to say, yeah, okay, he came on and he wasn't rubbish. So what, are we celebrating that? But I want to be fair because I've been so critical of him. Do you know what? I was one of the last to be critical of him. I gave him a good few months before I turned. A lot of people turned early because he was ex-Chelsea, inconsistent, all this stuff. But I gave him more of a chance than most. So did you. We were pretty patient. But then I think something switched, didn't it? We went from really patient to just, right now I'm done. I'm absolutely done. We're not getting anything out of this guy. I thought yesterday he came on and did his defensive duties, worked hard. That was all good. And that's the least you expect. When you're out of form, at least give us your all. I thought, in fairness to him as well, he looked more like someone who could impact a game than he has in any of our other matches. I think he had one good game against Wolves when we were losing, where I thought he was playing well and making things happen. And this was the first performance, I think, since then, where I've looked at him and thought, do you know what? All right, you nearly scored, and he should have done better, but he was in that position and he was getting there, and he looked like he was having some sort of impact on the game and some sort of involvement in the better bits. He also had that cross when he dragged it and crossed it for Pepe. That was really good. If Smith Rowe does that, we're going crazy about it because he created a really good chance, and that's worth noting. He also won quite a few fouls, and we've not done a graphic on him because he only played a half. And also, I don't want to be celebrating mediocrity too much, but he came on and he did okay. He did okay, and it was a step in the right direction. So let's just hope he slowly gets a little bit better, I suppose. But
listen, at the end of the day, we came out of a draw. Bringing Willian on, we didn't concede. It didn't cause us the game.
If anything, will look better.
Exactly. I'd say the second half was a lot better. So do you know what? Fair play to Arteta. If it was a tactical decision, fair play to him. In my opinion, it worked. So
it did.
And yeah, big ups to Willian, and hopefully it might, I don't know, spur him on to be a bit more of an impact player when he comes off the bench. But
or someone who we can depend on a little bit more when we need him to start.
Definitely.
You know what we saw yesterday was Pepe, because we're going to do a little bit on Pepe in a sec. Well, a little bit later. But Willian and Pepe, we saw them playing either side of a functioning core of Partey, Xhaka, and Smith Rowe. Players who are working well, a solid back four, a striker in Lacazette is in good form, and actually they look a lot better for it. So, I do think there's a part, and that's why we were critical about the FA Cup starting 11, was because he played all the out of form players together, and you're not going to get tune out of that. So yeah, look, it's something in the second half definitely changed, and whether that was all directly because of the Willian substitution, I don't know. But we definitely have a different tone, and I think a lot of that's down to Granit Xhaka, who we're going to talk about in a sec. Because I know you want to say a lot about him. I do as well, because I think he's absolutely merited it. But just a word on Martinelli as well. Thought he struggled in that first half. He had two great moments. There was the shimmy past a few players and the cross to Lacazette, really close, and that was really inventive, and I really appreciated the attempt. But also the clearance when it nearly went to Wan-Bissaka, I think.
Yeah, he running back from like
great headed clearance. So he showed his work rate and he showed his quality in those moments, but he didn't have the impact we'd have liked. And I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Arsenal weren't on the press in that first half. Not like the second half.
That and fitness. I think match fitness as well. I think he has played a few, but he's definitely not match fit. That's why I think he came off at halftime, if I'm completely honest. I think him and Arteta probably had a conversation, and he said, if I was a player, I'd be like, he hasn't played much. He needs to get to 90-minute match fitness, and I don't think he has that in his tank yet.
Yeah, agreed. Well, let's talk about the guy who did, I think, make all the difference in the second half. I'll let you run this bit. Let's talk about Granit Xhaka.
Perfect. So Granit Xhaka, I haven't been his biggest fan. I have of recent, but I haven't been his biggest fan. I've definitely criticised him in the past. Again, I'm not going to blow smoke up his butt for ages and say he's the next coming of Messi or whatever, because I know I've seen some fans saying he's world class and all this, but no. Recently, he's been on form, been very impressed with him. I took some of his stats from the game, and the thing I want to focus in on is his passing, because I criticise him for passing backwards a lot. Very negative in his play, has no confidence going forward. And yes, admittedly, these passes are to the side, but they're to each side. So he passed to Cedric 12 times. This is the highest amount of passes to Cedric, and passed to Partey 12 times, so the highest amount of passes to Partey as well. So that just shows he can go left and right. He kept it moving, and he had the highest amount of passes within the game at 59, most successful passes in the game at 57, and then the most passes into opposing half at 28. So then there you go. He passes forward as well. So he does a side to side, and he passed forward and had the most successful passes. So I've just got to give him big ups. I'm going to talk about his touches as well. He got on the ball 67 times, so he wasn't afraid to get on the ball. This is what I like to see from a midfielder. And if I'm completely honest, to wrap up kind of just the analysis on him quickly, him playing alongside Partey is definitely the partnership that I want to be seeing going forward. I think it really, really works. And admittedly, Partey didn't have his best game yesterday. However, having Partey there by his side means he doesn't have to worry about doing everything, really. I think Partey does clear up for Xhaka and lets him get on the ball and express himself, which I think is when we see the best of him. I think that's what he does for Switzerland as well. So, yeah, that was my thoughts on Xhaka. I just have to give him an honourable mention because he had a good game. He's had a few good games, and he's changing a lot of people's opinions. Don't get me wrong, his consistency levels do waver, so he may get a bad game, but when he's doing well, you've got to give him his plaudits. So, James, I don't know if you had anything else on him.
I said it in my fan cam that I've been critical of him this season. I have been. I've been critical of him for the last few years. And I think my big question was, what does he do? What does he do? But I don't want to sit here and just sorry, the comments. I don't want to sit here and not admit that I might have been wrong about Granit Xhaka, because this is the first time we're seeing him with a real partner in midfield, and it looks like that as you know, Partey along with Arteta are getting a tune out of Granit Xhaka, who is he's starting to influence games the way we want. I think his best attribute has always been his pass and his passing range, right? And there's little things as well. His movement is not his movement. I mean more his positional awareness and stuff. But yesterday I just felt every time we got the ball and we were trying to go the other way and counter and attack them, it was always Xhaka. My memory is Xhaka being the one on the ball and getting the ball forward and trying to dictate the tempo, slowing it down at the right times, getting it forward at the right times. I just thought he had a really, really good game, and like long may it continue, because there's a lovely balance between Partey and Xhaka sort of attributes wise. And if they can just keep going with this form, they can strike up a really nice partnership. Am I convinced by him? Not yet.
Well, this is a good comment. This is Beatty says you're not wrong about him. He's just improved. Which
this is the best Granit Xhaka I've seen at Arsenal since the Chelsea game where he came back.
I agree, actually.
And you know, I can't see into the future. There'll be some people who said I always knew he had this in him, and fair enough, absolutely fair enough if you did. I hadn't really seen that side of Xhaka. I'd seen good moments. I'd seen bad moments. I saw some great FA Cup performances at Wembley in the semis and the finals. He's won 2 FA Cups with us. You know, there's clearly a good player in there. But right now I'm seeing a level of consistency and an ability to control a game of football. And when you are the best player on the pitch ahead of Pogba, Bruno and Partey, that should not go unnoticed. And another stat I picked out that was worth mentioning, So he regained possession for Arsenal more times than any other player. You know, and that's not. You would think that would have been Luiz in defence. You know, clearing up, holding. Maybe Partey who's a little bit more dynamic. And then, but Xhaka always scores really highly for those numbers, and I've got to be honest, it goes a little unnoticed. I don't remember the moments in which he's not making big sign tackles or big interceptions and things like that, but he's in his own way very effectively getting the ball back for the team, and and he's doing superb. And I really thought it was worth mentioning. And just giving a proper section to him, you know, because we've been critical.
Yeah, no, he deserves it. He deserves it, especially as we criticised him in the past. I think he definitely deserves it, and I've been impressed with him. I know Alistair just put up a comment earlier saying about, well, where's his shots or where's his goals? But to be fair, I'm not looking for Xhaka to do that. Yes, we need goals from midfield, but we have a creative midfielder in front of him to be hopefully bring them goals in Emil Smith Rowe or Odegaard when he comes in. And he scores free kicks. Like he still scores free kicks. He does score. Just that game, he may not have had many shots, but in that game, he dominated the midfield with the passing and regaining possession. So, listen, big up Xhaka. Got to give him that.
He was very good. Another player I thought came to life in this game and, you know, was starting to come to life a lot more in the last couple was Nicolas Pepe. If we just look at his numbers, managed 4 shots, 3 key passes, 3 crosses. He was fouled 4 times. He's also gaining possession 5 times. He's getting on the ball as well with 57 touches. I've just rattled through those very quickly. Let me just tell you, he scores very highly in all those things. There's not many players, if any, who were scoring much better in a lot of those categories. I just thought he looked a danger all day. And you know what? No, we're still not seeing a £72 million player. And like with Xhaka, I want to caveat it by saying we still need to see more. We still need to see more consistency. But 2 games, he's come into the first team against Southampton, against United, and he's definitely been one of the better players on the pitch in both those games, in which I thought both were good performances.
Yeah, agreed. Now, again, I've had my doubts about Pepe. Still have question marks over him, but yeah, and I'm probably gonna get the Pepe agenda stuff. That's fine, but he had a great game yesterday, and that's me being completely honest. I think he done really well. Those stats. If you guys watch back at the show, you look at Pepe's stats, you can pause it on there and then go back and look at the other stats from Xhaka and other players that we brought up, and you can see they do fare high in the rest of the players that Arsenal played yesterday. So, listen, big up Pepe. He seems like he's on the up. I feel like he's building confidence as well, and yeah, I'm happy to see it. I am happy to see it, and I think on Sky, before we move on with Sky or wherever the game was, I think it's broadcast on Sky or BT. They mentioned about because. It was on Match of the Day actually, because he should have made that pass to Lacazette when he was doing the step overs. But I was like, I don't agree with that. When he took the shot and it just went past the post, I was like, you got to give him his plaudits. He's done well to even create that chance. Yes, he didn't get on target, but it was a very good close chance. And Pepe hasn't been in the squad enough, in my opinion, with the confidence to understand the link up play with Lacazette and whatnot. So listen, big up Pepe for yesterday.
Big up him. He looked dangerous, and that's all you can ask for a winger. Looked dangerous, caused problems, looked like you're making the opposition panic, and he did that. And Shaw's a very good defender, and he's been in very good form. So major credit. I want to fly through a couple last things, and then we're gonna take it to you guys. This is a chance for you guys to have your say. Let us know what you thought of the match. Ask us any questions, chat about the game, whatever. Let's just very quickly look at the full-time stats. Then, having gone through all that. Ultimately, we did outshoot United, which is a good time. 17 shots against Man United is pretty impressive. Fair play to Arsenal. You know, only the 3 on target. We should have been more effective with them. But we were causing them problems, and I did think we looked dangerous at times, despite a pretty depleted first 11 in terms of our better options. Didn't have as much of the ball, didn't have as many passes, but we were up there for duels. We were pressing them and hassling them, and I did really enjoy that. And I think it set the right tone to be stuck in and to showing them that we can compete and not just sitting back in 2 deep blocks for 90 minutes. We had moments where we had to, but ultimately I thought we took the game to them as well. And then man of the match, I've gone for Granit Xhaka. I know Sky went with David Luiz, but it was Granit Xhaka for me. How do you feel about that, Cecil?
Yeah, quite shocked. That's not my man of the match, but
who's your man of the match?
Listen. Big up Xhaka, deserved from James. Great man of the match from him. And yep, David Luiz as well. My man of the match, bit different. Guys, please let us know in the comments right now who yours is. Mine was Bernd Leno. Crazy one, mad, but I just don't think he gets enough credit for what he does. for our team. If I'm completely honest, he makes key saves all over the place for us, and it just not that it goes unnoticed, but I don't think he gets the ratings he deserves. I'm going to be completely honest. He makes really integral saves, so I'm going to give it to Bernd Leno, and that is probably for the accumulation of the games previously, not just this one. But yeah, Leno for me, guys. I don't know your thoughts. I want to know in the comments who's your man of the match.
Yeah, he was class.
Oh, Leno. People saying Leno, my G. Thank you. People saying Leno, spot on Cecil, Bird Leno, Bird Leno. Sorry. But yeah, Leno for me. If I'm completely honest, I don't know if anyone else. Xhaka, saw Xhaka there as well. Pepe. A lot of Pepe fans here for yesterday. But yeah, I think
it's good that we can rattle off quite a few options. You know, no one's even saying that Luis, who was Sky's man of the match. So that, you know, I think that bodes well for us.
I do. Before we obviously as well close, I want to, James, you didn't have on the match the final stats, which is fine. The XG, and the reason why I'm going to bring up this topic, who do you think out of the 3 chances that are on target? Who do you think had the better chances out of us and United?
United. No. Let's have it right. United had the 2 best chances of the game. I know I was just waxing lyrical about controlling the second half, but in any game, you've got to have a bit of luck, especially when you're playing a team as good as Man United. Their players are always going to cause problems, and Cavani missed 2 absolute sitters. I mean, one's a sitter and one's a chance you expected to put away, in fairness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we could easily have lost that game. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up because it's worth mentioning. But I thought in terms of control of the play and the football and the tempo and where we were on the pitch and stuff, I think we did very well with the numbers we had to ultimately kind of control that. But they had the better chances.
Definitely. Tottenham are losing.
Oh, great.
Sorry, that's exciting. I don't know how long that's going to last, but Brighton are 1-0 up. Anyway, guys, it's going to open the floor now to you lot.
Just before you do, because this leads really nicely into the fans and the audience having their say, I just want to bring up the Premier League table.
Oh, lovely. Perfect.
Which I've got here.
Lovely.
This is the first time I think ever on this show that me and you have looked at the Premier League table, because I think, and I'm going to touch wood, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think we're entering a patch of form, 5 wins out of 7.
All right, easy, James. Don't jinx it. Jesus.
I'm just saying, I think we can start having a look at, basically, we're not looking below us. I'm not saying we're going to finish top 10, but I don't think we're worried about, obviously, relegation, all those stupid things that are being said before. And I know there's still a lot of work to do in this Arsenal team, but I just want to know what people's expectations are. I'm not trying to get everyone to predict where we'll finish. I think Villa are a very good side. I think Everton, Chelsea, Tottenham, West Ham, on their day, they are good teams. But if you look at that, we're only 8 points off Leicester in 4th. I think Man United will have a bad patch at some point. Tottenham, you don't know what you're going to get. Chelsea, you don't know what you're going to get. Everton lost at home to Newcastle. We are dragging ourselves back in the mix. We're at the bottom of that mix. Don't get me wrong, but we've dragged ourselves back into that mix. And I think that's all we can really ask for now. But are you feeling like, we start being competitive with these above us?
Yeah, James, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I was just lagging out then. I'm happy. I think if we go on a run from now, obviously we've got Wolves, we've got Villa, we've got Leeds.
Tough games.
They're not easy games, but I'm telling you, they are the teams that are kind of, kind of in and around about us, really. They are. So if we win, I know they are tough games in my opinion. If we win those, mate, we're going to be right up in there. And I feel like after watching, like I've said at the beginning of the show, after seeing the game against United, our reserves, you could say, or our fringe team, we've done well. I think the boys have confidence in going ahead in the next 3 games to probably pull away the win, especially with the return of the players that were missing, the Sakas, the Aubameyangs, Martinelli, even maybe Odegaard bit input in there. I'm quite positive. I don't want to jinx it though. I really don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't have egg on my face. So yeah, but James, I'm happy. I am happy.
I'm not sitting here saying that's it. We can get top 4, top 6. I'm not saying that, but I think to just be involved in the conversation from where we were is impressive enough. To show the table and see that we're in those 30s brackets of points, where a lot of teams that we've been very, praising of, your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, your Evertons, your Villas. We've all been saying what a great season they've been having, and we are closing in. I know there's a lot of games in hand there, but quite frankly, where games in hand used to mean a free 3 points, they don't mean that anymore because of the nature of this season. So I think we can be happier with where we are, and we can start looking to plot away. But if we get through the next few games, who did you say it was? Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
3 tough games. 3 really tough games. But if we come through with some respectable, good scores, maybe a couple wins and a draw in there or something like that, I think we can start maybe getting a little bit more excited about what this team can do. Odegaard's still to bed in, injuries to come back. Who knows?
Where do you think realistically we can finish?
I don't like that question. The reason I don't like that question is because
you don't know.
We're only halfway through, really.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through. And West Ham have had a great first half of the season, but it wouldn't surprise me if they bottled the second half. Not bottled. That is such a horrible way of putting it. Not bottled, because they done so well to be up there. But it wouldn't surprise me if they went on to struggle in the second half and not repeat the same form. It wouldn't surprise me if Tottenham have a really strong second half, because Mourinho kind of knows how to grind out results sometimes. Obviously, the current score maybe doesn't tell you that, but I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I just want to be in and around it.
Is it possible for us to get top 6? As it is possible, obviously, mathematically, but do you believe we can get in the top 6? Because remember, on record, you've said this team, which that are better than us, which can be true, but do you think we can do it? I think that's a better question. Do you think we can do it as well, people in the comments? Top 6? Fans are saying top 4. Kelechi said top 4.
I personally don't think we're good enough. Because the players have done it over 5, 6, 7 games, and fair enough, they look better. But I can't just forget how bad we were November to end of December. I can't just forget that. All right, January's been a really good month for us. We ended December well, and we've had a good January. But I can't just forget how terrible we were. And I know that these players have that in them now. So, in fairness, Smith Rowe's emergence has made a difference. Partey's return from injury. Yeah, I'll give you all that. That's all made a difference. But yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, if anything, I'm more hopeful of a decent Europa League run, if anything.
Okay, cool.
But what are the fans saying? Guys, tell us what are you expecting? Back to the original question of the day, which I've got below here. Is it a point gained or is it a missed opportunity? What do we think?
I think it's a point gained. Point gained. We're going to revert back and be a pain, because we are going back to the first question. Is it a point gained or missed opportunity? A point gained, and James should agree because this was his face when he heard the starting 11. So I think so. I'm being a troll. I think it is a point gained, and don't get me. People say missed opportunity. Only reason why I say a point gained is because, if I'm honest, if I knew the squad right before the game started, and I knew our team and the team that Man United are playing, I'd have been happy with a point. Obviously, I think we could beat them. I'll always have that as an Arsenal fan, but I would have been like, okay, a point's a good result against this with how weakened our team is. It'll be a good point. And yeah, I think coming away from it, it was especially with all the teams dropping points around us. I think as long as we kick on from here, it's a good point gained.
Yeah, I've got a good question here. I'm just going to bring up from Pranav. He says, we didn't buy Willian to run around and help with the defense. We bought him to help with the attack and score chances like the one we had yesterday. And I think that is why I'm sort of reluctant to get too excited about an improvement in performance in 45 minutes with Willian. It's a good point, Pranav. I know what you mean. Okay, he did all right, but is that really what we got him for? But I gotta look at the progress, right? I can't slate a player and then just completely not acknowledge when there's been a bit of progress or improvement. And I think there was improvement yesterday.
Definitely. Pranav, thank you for that. I mean, I washed my hands with Willian. Sounds harsh, but I made that statement. There's some players I make my mind up of, but I can also credit when they've done well. I'm not a hater at the end of the day. I'm not to hate, so I just can credit them, and I feel like he played well, but I can't, like James said, we can't get overly gassed because You know what I mean? Yeah, we didn't sign him to run around. We wanted him to take them chances. And when you watch him, I feel like what I thought he was coming here for was to beat players with pace and create opportunities. And when I watch him, I think he's lost his pace, in my opinion. I think his pace is not fast. Well, he's not as quick as I thought he was. And a lot of defenders really snuff him out. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I've got a couple ones here to bring up. Ihan says, missed opportunity. United aren't as good as many think. I do agree with that. And here we go.
I think their fans agree with that. Sorry to cut you, Jay. You know, when we looked at some fans from United, we watched some of their streams, and they are calling them out. And if I'm completely honest, I don't think it's the players, because I think they have amazing players. There's no question. They have players with amazing ability, even though some of their fans question it, which I also find shocking. But yeah, I think it's more the management and the coaching. I don't know what it is. I don't see United being able to take it all the way due to just Ollie being at the wheel, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. I think he needs someone there that's had that experience of winning trophies and titles and leagues and stuff. I just don't think he knows how to get his players over the line. But don't get me wrong, he's having a great.
He's got that with Carrick and who's the other coach, that Phelan. You know, he probably feels he's got that around him. I just think Man United have ridden their luck. Is ridden the word? Road. Yeah, road. You know, they've had their luck at times, is all I'm saying. And their position, they've been on a great run. I don't want to discredit it, but also their position was a little higher than it really should have been for the way they're performing. But you know, they had been on a good run. You can't, and their away form's terrific, and that's not luck.
Yeah,
right. And that is worth mentioning. Vishnu says, point gained and lost. We could have won the game, but it was a fair enough result. I think that, and we could have lost it. You know, Cavani should score those, and suddenly isn't it amazing how goals can change things? Because if we concede those goals to Cavani, the narrative is we were naive. Yeah. We know they can do that, and whatever. We should have taken our chances, and it's different. Yeah. But you do need your luck against the better teams sometimes. And you know, like when we beat Chelsea, we played really well, but also we got a Tierney penalty that was 50-50, and Xhaka puts in his one free kick of the season, and you're 2-0 up suddenly, and Saka scores a free goal, and you're 3-0 up. And sometimes you need a little bit of luck in these games, but you earn your luck as well, right? So yeah, agree with that. Let's take a couple more before we round off.
I saw something about this is a 5-year plan and Rome's not built in a day. I've lost a comment for talking about us at Arsenal. But yeah, I still think we're in a rebuilding process. Things are slowly coming together, though. You can see things slowly coming together with Arteta and the team. But they are definitely right. I'm ahead of myself.
Great one here from Greg. Says, Arteta's doing much better now. He's relaxed the rigidness and the team is coming together nicely. He just needs more depth in the squad. I think that is the best comment I've seen all day. Thank you, Greg. I think it's spot on because he is doing better now. The arrival of Smith Rowe and some of the little tweaks he's made to the formation, the tactics, and actually he's kind of let go a little bit. I think he knows that the team need to be a little bit more adventurous and it's coming together. I also think he can trust his defenders more than he could have before. You know, they look more focused. They look like they're sweeping up better and starting attacks. And
second best defense in the league, James. Sorry to cut you. Second best defense in the league.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right. And actually, that stat goes a little, under the radar sometimes. So we definitely improved in that sense. And it was. I've mentioned this the second time I've referenced him today, but I thought it was a really good stream on Rants and Bants, who was United fan channel talking about the game, and he was saying we looked coached and we looked like we had a plan, and actually give Arteta the players, and he'll, as he put it, do a madness with them. And I'm not yet convinced that he'll, do anything spectacular with amazing players, but I do kind of agree that if you give him the kind of investment Lampard had at Chelsea, I think you will see a lot more from Arteta. But my question has been, are we going to give him? I've always known he's that kind of manager who needs particular players to do certain things. That's what Pep was like. And you could see the way we play. It's very, what's the word? It's very trained and coached, and there's ideas and there's methodological. What is wrong with me tonight?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean though. It's very cultured. I know there's passing patterns. There's passing patterns in the play. You can see Arteta knows who to play in what position just to get the best out of them. But he needs the players to do it. And we both watched the Rants and Mants, had a little look at it, and big up to them. But yeah, they were saying if Arteta had the Man United team, there'd be a force to be reckoned with. And I actually don't doubt that. I actually believe that is 100% true. It rings very true. So
yeah, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite there because it got so bad in November. But I do think there's an element of truth to, if you gave him exactly the profile players he wanted, he would get so much more out of them than a standard coach or another coach might. So I think he's just one of those managers who needs particular tools, but he's finding a way now to get results and get us playing a more free-flowing, fluid style of football, and credit to him for it.
And 100%.
Right.
And just before we move on, before we move on, like you said there, you said you're not convinced because November run the losing streak. I'm not convinced only because of not only because of the FA Cup, but the 7 changes, and it just seemed like we really went up for it. I put it down yes to the players, but also decision making. I think sometimes it can be wild. Right, what's this one? It's the process. We must keep on winning. Sorry, I should read it out loud. Zaha says, it's a process. You know when you do that, you read it, but I'm only reading it because I'm cautious of names. It's a process. We must keep on winning. I see a style of play and a solid team structure. Arteta, my manager. I like that. I like that. I do like that.
Hydra X, I think we will see a more ambitious Arsenal next season. A good summer. We'll need a striker, fullbacks, and a creative midfielder permanently. Yeah, I think as much as Xhaka has improved, we do still need another option for Partey in there as well. There was a great one here. Ardamiyang says, continue the run, and we go 4th with huge luck, but realistically 5th to 7th. I think that's a good way of putting it. If we continue this run, there's going to be some defeats in there, of course. It's the nature of everyone's season. But if we continue this level of performance and this level of run, really, then I think he's put it correctly. With luck, we will scrape 4th. With the way things are going, 5th or 7th. But it's a big ask to continue this run because we have been doing very well. There was one last good one I wanted to bring up before we round up. Leo. Hating on Arteta is stupid. He came into the club in a tricky situation, won 2 cups. We're now starting to see his vision. I mean, you should never hate on a manager or a player or whatever, but being skeptical and critical, I think, is fair enough. And I even got to a point where I was kind of ready for a managerial change. I never went as far as saying Arteta out, but I was saying, look, if he goes, I get it. But I agree that we're starting to see what he wants to do more now. And I'm becoming encouraged by it, but I don't like to be because I'm always disappointed.
That sounded so sad. That sounded something like you're just reflecting on life, James.
Yeah,
I'm always disappointed.
No, I'm just not. A lot of the core group of players that I'm still not sure about still there, but let's see. They've also won me FA Cups, and I've been very happy about that. So
we're being hypocritical. Well, no, it's not even hypocritical. It is what it is. Sometimes that's what happens. But and like I said, I'm happy with Xhaka has really improved the game lately. Sorry, I got to stop doing this. Xhaka has really improved his game lately, and it feels like he has done it under the radar too. His game yesterday was solid. Yeah, and on that, Annie, thank you very much for your comment. We will end on that. Thank you so much for tuning into this Stats Review show live. Spoke to you guys. Thank you for staying tuned. Plenty more content. We have a game on Tuesday for Wolves, so just be prepared for more content to be coming your way, and stay with us always. Thank you for watching, and come on, you Gunners.
Today's show is sponsored by Profit Accumulator, the #1 match betting service in the UK. Match betting is different to gambling. With gambling, you bet on one side, and if that side loses, you lose. With match betting, you bet on both sides. That means no matter what the outcome, you're a winner. When you sign up to Profit Accumulator, they will walk you through the whole process of how to do match betting, and as long as you follow what they tell you, you cannot lose. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description right now for your free trial, and you can start earning some real cash.